Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of In Moderation. Today, I have another guest with me, my very good friend, Megan. She is a very special person in my life. I want to tell you a little quick story about how we met.
Am I gonna cry? I'm gonna cry.
You're not going to cry.
Oh, I'll probably be.
You're not
Oh,
gonna
wait,
cry.
I know what you're gonna say. I'm gonna be embarrassed. Okay, go.
Meg came up to me at the gym and she was like, "Girl, I just want to say your bench is impressive as hell because you're benching what we're squatting right now."
Yeah.
And we instantly became friends.
Yeah. No, this is really how it happened. I was fangirling over Charlotte, and me and my friend Maya, who graduated a couple years ago, were at the gym. We were hack squatting. We weren't even like barbell squatting. We were hack squatting. So we had like, what were you doing? We had, I think, just a 45 on. No, you were doing 155 that day. I remember because I was like, no way. Like, okay, so yeah, we had a 45 and a 10 on each side. And then we look over and we're struggling with this hack squat, like struggling with our legs, very strong. We're very strong women, and like we're struggling. And we look over and there's Charlotte over there, like benching 155, and we're like, this is not real. This is not real. And then I finally went up to her and I was like, yeah, I follow your fitness account and you're dope and I want to be your friend. And now we're besties. So
Yeah.
it works out. Go up to girls and be nice to them at the gym.
Who cares about the guys at the gym?
Exactly.
Go meet girlfriends.
Right. I only go to the gym for the girls, to be honest. So
Okay, so
yeah.
Meg, tell us like who you are, where you're at, what you're doing in life.
Yeah. Wow, great questions. I'm Meg and I'm a senior at JMU. I am a psychology major with a minor in women's gender sexuality studies. And yeah, I'm just vibing through life right now.
Just chilling.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Life is good right now.
I feel that. Life is really good right now. So, you're one of my go-to people when I'm having like a terrible day, a terrible body image day, like you name it. Like, I'm probably going to text you because you're just going to have the right thing to say. I feel like we have a similar mindset about stuff like that. How do you handle like body image days like that and like getting through stuff like that? Like, what's your mindset?
I'm very similar where like I'm going to text you or Delaney or someone, my sister, someone, because I'm such like a let's talk it out and talk about like how we're feeling. And then to me, bad body image days, like it's honestly just like my negative thoughts just like spiraling a little bit. Like if I'm not telling like one negative thought, like, okay, like this isn't helpful, like then they're just gonna keep going. And I need an outside person to like bring me back kind of to reality and like center me. I know a lot, like sometimes like there can be bad body image days too, but also like I feel one time you told me that like you have to give yourself grace with like the where you're at and like what you're doing in that moment. Like if you're super busy and like can't make it to the gym, you can't make all your meals, like it's okay to like not feel great about yourself and not be at like your peak all the time.
Right. You can't be at your peak all the time, you know? Because then like how would you ever know that it's the best if you've never felt like the lows?
Exactly. It's too much pressure.
Yeah.
And like just knowing that like you're allowed to have low days and then also not be like, oh my gosh, it's okay, like I need to fix this right now. Like you can sit in it for a little bit. But then like I think in my brain, like coming to recognize even just how you're feeling, that's already like that's not reality then. You already know this is a bad body image day. This isn't how I look. This isn't how I feel. It's an off day. And that's what helps me through those.
Right.
Even though they suck in the moment and they're going to suck probably for like a little bit. And then the next day or however long that takes, then you're fine.
Yeah.
And you're back.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So giving yourself grace on those days. I like that. What about challenges when it comes to like non-physical things?
Non-physical things. Example.
Can I say the example that we just talked about?
Yeah.
Your job.
Oh, like low days in general.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Another great one. So, full disclosure, I just got fired from my job, which was very hurtful to me because I'm a very, like, my character is everything to me. And, like, that, it was it was basically conclusion miscommunication, not like the biggest deal. I'm not a horrible human being. I'm not a horrible worker because of this. And that's okay. For me, again, huge. I'm a talker. I want to be a therapist. Like, I love talking about I've been in therapy my whole life. I love it. Like, I could sit here and sit through all my emotions all day. Doesn't mean I want to all the time, but like, I'm fine with doing that. So immediately when I looked at the email, I called my mom. I'm sobbing, crying. There's no rational things coming out of my mouth. Like, the world is ending to me in this moment. I need that 2 hours to like sit in my emotions, to feel like the world is ending, call on my people. I called my mom. I called my 3 closest coworkers. I called my sister, and I called Maya, because they all knew the situation I was going through, could relate to me, and then kind of slowly bring me back to reality. And that's what I did. I cried for about 2 hours. I'm not going to lie. And then I was fine. And then the next day I started applying to new jobs. Today I'm having a great day. This happened 2 days ago, and I'm okay. Yeah.
Life goes on. Life's not totally a job.
Right.
So how does it feel to be free? Because you spent hella time at this job.
I did. I'm most upset because of my coworkers. Like, I genuinely love my coworkers so much. But also, like, I just feel I'm a huge believer of like everything happens for a reason. If God wants to take me somewhere else, he's going to take me somewhere else. Like, that's okay. And I did have a lot of anxiety from this job. Like, it is due to the management and the culture, and how this manager kind of placed so much stress and emphasis on something that pays my groceries and my gas. It's not my education or the be all end all.
Yeah, like, we're here for school.
Yeah. So honestly, like, I was of course very upset in the moment, but now I'm like, there's so much opportunity now. It's like kind of freeing. It's a little anxiety inducing because I'm like, I can't not have a job that's like not in my cards, but it'll be fine. It's gonna work out.
It's gonna work out.
Yeah.
As far as like now, okay, as far as balancing your work, since that's something that you like to do and have to do and want to do, like, you seem like a person who like would be bored just sitting around.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So like, how do you balance that with everything you do at school? Because like, you have like a lot going on with school.
Yeah. So balance to me has been hard to find. I grew up dancing my whole life, and it was like a full-time job on type of high school. So I kind of just learned time management per se, but I don't think I learned balance in a way. Yeah, I'm still working through it. I'm trying to say yes to a lot more, like fun stuff, free stuff, because I've struggled a lot in the past of like, no, it's gonna interfere with my studying, interfere with my school, my work. I still have some struggles on that just because I am a little mini baby introvert at heart. But finding balance to me for sure is like, I think it's been very important. And over like the past year or so, I've kind of think I've found my sweet spot, which is awesome.
How did you like go from time management to balance?
Great question. So for me, like, when I think of time management, I'm kind of like putting myself in blocks. So I'm like, all right, I have this much time to do this. I have this much, and it's almost like I'm stressing myself through it because I have so much to do. But balance to me is like fluidity. Like, I can go and do this thing and this activity that's been planned, but I can also be 20 minutes late to something. I can say no to one thing just so I can make another event, or I want to stay in. Like, that's also balance to me. It's kind of, for me, time management was like, all right, I need to check all my boxes because like I need to get everything done that has to be done. But finding balance is like, one, knowing not to overbook yourself and things.
That's huge. Especially things you don't really want to do.
Right. Like, I'm just saying yes to this to like appease people.
Yeah.
And for me, like, yeah, finding balance was just biggest part, being able to say no for things you don't want to do and saying yes more. I'm trying to do that a lot more, especially senior year. So
Senior send.
I know.
That's what it is.
I know. It's a great phrase. It really is. Just send it.
It comes in
Senior send
handy
it.
all the time.
Yeah.
Any of my senior friends, I'm like, really? You're going to stand? That's
Exactly.
not very senior send of you.
I know. And I'm not even like, it's still not like hitting me until I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is our last, like next year. I'm like, oh yeah, next fall.
Yeah.
What do you mean next fall? Like we're not, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I have like little moments for sure where I'm like, wow.
I think about it like more frequently than I would like to.
Yeah. I can't because my anxiety brain will literally start panicking. But I should bring the idea in. Shouldn't just avoid it. You know?
Like all of a sudden it's graduation day and you're like, oh
yeah,
wait.
That's like what my plan has been, and I'm like, I will be a crying mess if I let myself do that. Like not deal and unpack.
Yeah. I probably cried like once a week. Really? Because but like it's not in like a sad way. It's like I feel like I have been so present in my moments.
Yeah.
And after leaving those moments, like I'm immediately reflecting on them and being like, wow, like I loved that. I'm so happy for that. And then it spirals into like, I can't believe like these moments are going to change. Yeah. Like I'm going to have more moments like that, but it's never going to be in a setting like this again.
Yeah.
And like that just sends me because it's like, I feel so lucky to have had a college experience that makes it so difficult to leave because so many people like hate where they went to school, had terrible roommates, never made friends, never tried new things. And like, I like that wasn't my experience. Like, I really feel like for the majority of it, and like, especially now that I'm more aware of how fast it goes, I have made the best of it and I've had the best time.
Right.
So like, it's just a grateful cry.
Right. I agree with that then. Yeah. Like then I'm with that cry because I feel that all the time. Like I'm a huge person of like I get overwhelmed with joy.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to me because like
so crazy.
I used to cry every day because I was like sad and depressed. Like and now I'm overwhelmed with how much like happiness is in my life. Like that could bring me to tears right now. Like it's that's crazy.
I know. Yeah. Like these things talking about and like experiencing, like I was standing in my bathroom the other day. And all of a sudden, like, I was getting, like, the text in the group chat and, like, all these things. And, like, I just felt like everything in my life right now is, like, everything just feels good. Like, I'm busy, but, like, in the best way.
Yes. And it's everything I'm doing is genuinely, like, something I love.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's not draining me. It's, like, filling my cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I texted my friend Sam, and she was like, dude, like your cup is overflowing.
Oh,
she literally
that's
said
what
that.
It
like
is.
my cup, like I felt like this, like I was like giddy inside. Yeah. It was crazy, and it lasted like a couple of minutes, and then it was like I was like that was intense, like that was crazy.
Yeah, it is, but it's that's such a like beautiful moment to look back on. I definitely agree with like I'm feeling very present in my moments, and then I leave and I'm like I'm so blessed and lucky that like I have this experience in college, these communities in college, like because it's like everywhere how I describe to people, like when I was home and they're like, why are you so excited to go back? It's because it's like when I'm at school I have so many people and places that I like reside in, but there's so much love in all of it. Like for me it was work. It used to be work, rest in peace. Work was one of them, and I mean those relationships they're gonna change, but they're gonna still be there. Work was one of them. The gym is a huge one. Huge one. Church is one of them for me. And then my classes. I have so many friends in my major that like genuinely help me. So much of like my future planning has been from connecting with my friends and like them basically telling me like, oh, just do this. Like, don't be stressed. Like, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So I don't know if you had an experience similar to this, but like I remember I used to like even like just going to class, I would like be like, oh, like I don't want to go to class, like, and the whole entire thing would just be miserable because I had a terrible mindset about it. And now like I love getting up for my 8 a.m. Like my professor's so fun. Like I love it. Like the kids in my class who sit next to me, like they're freshmen and they were blown away that I was a senior. And like now that I'm a senior, like I like going to class. Like I'm taking those moments all in and like just really trying to enjoy it. So like I feel like I've had a total as my outlook changed about small things like that, like it's made a huge impact in like how I feel throughout the day.
Yeah.
Has that happened? Like, is there like a visible transformation for you, or like a point where like that changed for you, where you're like, I can't do this anymore?
For sure. Like when I first came, because I transferred into JMU my sophomore year. And sophomore year,
Did I know that about you?
I don't think
I don't
so.
think
I
I knew
like
that
don't
about
like
you.
this is a tangent. I'll try to make it small.
It's okay.
So
go for it all the way.
Grew up dancing whole life. That was the backstory. I was very passionate about dance. I was very like in the ballet community. My senior year, I took half days at school and I drove in to DC because I'm from Nova, and drove into DC, and I would train under the Washington Ballet, which is like a professional company in DC, a ballet company. And I would train under them for like 6 hours, and I would go home. I'd do that every day. And then so senior year, I'm like, I'm not going to school. Like I'm a dancer. Like I'm gonna dance. I want to be a contemporary ballerina. That was my dream. And then COVID hit, and it was the first time I didn't have dance like my whole life. And I was like, wow, I'm so unhappy. This is like year 4 of my eating disorder. And I've been so anorexic for so long that now I'm regressing and I'm binge eating every day and I'm gaining all this weight. And it wasn't even all this weight. I shouldn't even say that. It was maybe like a healthy 15 pounds that I needed, like maybe 10. Like, and I thought it was the biggest deal in the world. I was like, I can't be a dancer now because I'm fat. So, and that's not. Dance culture is just, we could do a whole nother hour and a half on that, but I won't get into that. So, mind you, at this point, it's like March 2020. I miss all the deadlines for school, not even in my brain. So, I end up just doing a year of community college at home. Which was the most transformative year for me because it forced me to go through recovery by myself. It forced me to go to therapy weekly. It forced me to get my first job because I couldn't because of dance. And be alone, like getting used and getting comfortable with being alone because now all my high school friends are gone away at school. All my college or my dance friends are gone. And it was just me. It was the hardest time of my life, but the best time of my life. So yeah, that was my year at community college. Transferred into JMU sophomore year. I was so excited, ready to party. Grades were horrible. I think I had straight C's. Yeah, the whole year, both fall and spring semester. And I hated going to class. I think a bigger reason for me is that I am so passionate about psychology that like anything else is so boring to me. And I think also my biggest thing was like I was in the wrong mindset. I was here to make friends. I just came a year from pure isolation. I was like, I'm ready to make all these friends. And now I'm not really friends with anyone from that phase of my life. There's a few stragglers, but not really. Once my junior year hit, I was in all my psych classes. That's when I started loving school, loving a routine, finding the right people. And that's kind of when my mindset changed. Now it's like I'm done with all my psych classes because I did all of them junior year. And now I love going to any one of my classes. Like I genuinely realized that I love learning and like retaining information, hearing other people's perspectives, like opening my perspective to things that like I would never know because they're not my lived experiences. Like I genuinely love it. And it sounds nerdy, but like I love going to class now. So I completely agree. And yeah, my turn was like sophomore to junior year.
How'd you like break the habit of that old mindset?
So much change for me my sophomore going to junior. I was just so unhappy with like trying to appease other people and like create this image of myself that I was like better than everyone else and like a bad bitch and like just I cared so much about like my appearance and I just wanted to be perfect to everyone. And like I think just switching that mindset of like one, literally no one cares. Like you're here for your education and like your development as a person. And so that's what I did. I stopped caring about what other people thought. I mean, I still had a little bit of lingering, but I really stopped caring about what other people thought. Male validation, that was a huge one for me sophomore year.
Big for me too.
Huge sophomore year. And I kind of just stopped that. And I was like, no, I'm here for me. So that's when I think everything changed, when I started like actually fully working on myself, not just like saying I was going to. but like doing things that fill my cup up.
What are some of those things for you?
So much. I the biggest part for me is when I started consistently going to church, consistently reading my Bible, developing my relationship with Jesus was like the hugest like turnaround for me, which I never knew because again, grew up in therapy. Like, I mean, I was raised Catholic, faith was always in there, religion was always in there, but like the idea and like I still get overwhelmed and start crying about it all the time. The idea that like I'm so fulfilled in love through the person that created me is just like so overwhelming to think about. Like the person that created the mountains and this beautiful world and things that like we look at all the time and I'm like, wow, like that is so much bigger than me. He loves me way more than like the biggest mountain on the world. Like that's like so overwhelming to think about. And for me, that helped me because a huge part of my testimony is that I was searching for love in every single wrong place, men, dance, whatever. I just wanted that validation. And knowing that like I'm already complete is like insane and crazy to me. So that's a big one. Spending time with Jesus in the morning, outside, going to the gym, and also going to the gym to like for my body, not like criticizing what I look like every day.
Yeah.
Like going to the gym because I love moving my body. Like I love working out and like feeling athletic because I never felt that as a dancer. Like, I mean, I did, but just in different ways. Like feeling strong, that's like such a huge part. And it's like less about what I look like now.
Totally.
Which is crazy. That was a huge change for me too.
Me too. That changed for me a lot.
And
too.
now it's like I love genuinely just moving my body in whatever way I can.
Yeah, even if it's going for a walk or something simple. Like I don't need to have a crazy lift every single day. Like if I can move my body, get my steps in, drink my water, like
yeah. Another big one for me is now like keeping my space clean. I've always been a really messy person.
Really
huge messy person. Like my room was always a mess. My parents would get on me all the time. I'm also really stubborn, so anytime they told me to clean my room, I wouldn't do it because, you know. And so now keeping my space clean, like I love cleaning. Like that's a huge like fill for me. Like I love it. So definitely
every Sunday, man.
Yeah, a reset every day.
Clean.
Like I love it. Even just like picking up stuff, like just
having organizing.
Having a clean space for me. And then last one, I think definitely like hanging out with friends, like being able to hang out, actually like dive into like people's lives, what makes them the way they are, like genuinely caring about like their day-to-day stuff. Like for me, that fills me up because I love loving my friends. Like that's some of my greatest joys is just hearing how my friends' life is.
Yeah. How'd you start finding friends who were similar to you in overall beliefs, things you enjoy?
Biggest one honestly for me was the gym because I kind of when I started like isolating myself a little bit from like my friends in the past, I was like, okay, I come to this place 6 days a week, like I see the same girls all the time and they seem really sweet. It was that because I feel like as a gym culture in general to be so, which like we downplay it, but like we are very disciplined people to like make the working out, eating right a priority 95% of the time. That's 80% of the time.
I'm
that's better.
Strong 80.
Yeah, 95 is definitely, I definitely don't do that. It's definitely like 70 for me. So I think that is such like a huge, and also like that's a huge thing like as a foundation. And then like that dwells into other things. Like we want to be successful in so many other ways as well. Like the gym was a huge one for me. And then going to church, I found like my great community there, which is amazing. And I love to have like a foundation.
Yeah, like tell me about that.
So fun. So I started going to a church down here called Duck, DUCC, Divine Unity Community Church, not duck like the animal. And I went there a couple times. This is when I was like, again, sophomore year, going into junior year. I was like, I'm so lost and I need Jesus in every way possible because my life is a train wreck right now. So I went to one, bawled the entire time because I was like, I'm a horrible human being, all that stuff, all the guilt and shame that comes with going to church sometimes, and also being raised Catholic, a lot of guilt and shame in that religion. So I went there, and then I saw on the screen they have like a little slideshow before like the service starts, and it said something about ENC, and ENC is Every Nation Campus. We're a part of an Every Nation church. That's what our church is under, and then ENC, the other ENC, is Every Nation Campus. So it's a campus ministry based off of the Every Nation church, which is Duck is a part of.
Mhm.
So ENC is essentially at JMU. It's essentially everyone that goes to Duck comes together once a week. We create a community on the college campus of like believers, and we get together once a week. Well, now twice a week. I have like a small group with one of them too. But I went one time and I've never felt like so welcomed and loved. And then I just kept going like every week to ENC, and I kept going to church every week, and it was awesome. Like I found like her name's Becca. She's like, I say that she's like my mentor in the church because she's like our campus missionary, and she's like 24, but she's like genuinely just such a dope human being and friend. Like, and yeah, I've just like kept making relationships through there, through ENC and through going to church.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do you find that like having your faith and like your belief in something bigger, like how does that affect your day-to-day like life?
Yeah, it affects it a lot. Like it's constantly in the back of my head. Like I was actually driving here and I was like, I'm having such a good day today. Like thank you God for like giving me such a good day. Like and like again, like getting overwhelmed with the feelings of like being present and like having this great life. Like I owe that all to God, because like I see where I came from, where like I was crying in my bed every day. I hated myself, hated my body, didn't completely self-isolated, had no joy, was so rude to everyone. And now I'm like again overwhelmed, over my cup is now overflowed with joy. Like it's crazy to me to think that. And to me, like that was all just part of like God's plan for me, because everyone has a different track.
Yeah, totally.
So for me it's an everyday thing. Get up in the morning, thank you God, like giving me new mercies every day. Like and it's also like I don't normally talk about it this openly, which like I'm trying to get better at and bolder at, but like someone's faith is always different than mine, and I'm not one to like sit here and judge.
Right. I was
like
just about to say, I feel like personally for me, so like I grew up Catholic, and like I had my communion and my confirmation and stuff, like everything all the way
right there
through.
with you.
Yeah. So I did grow up like in faith, same thing. Like we didn't go all the time, but we went to church and like CCD and all that stuff.
Yep, CCD. Yeah, right there with you.
Yep. So I don't know, but I feel like as I started to like, you know, think with my own brain, I would kind of now honestly probably consider myself more spiritual than religious. I am like a huge believer in like energies and like vibes and like intuition, and like I think for me like a lot of it is like trust in your inner, and like I just feel like very recently I've become so in tune with like my inner, and that's why my outer is vibrating at like such a high good level. Like I feel so in alignment with like everything that's going on in my life right now. But where I was going with this and why I went off on that little tangent is because I still feel like you and I have a lot of the same core mindsets and beliefs when it comes down to it. Like, you know, like there's some differences, but I went to church with you for Easter, and like your church is sick,
and it
like
was
your
amazing.
church is awesome,
right?
And I did be tearing up a little bit there,
right? It's
so like
amazing.
it's just honestly like it's really, I think personally for me, I think a big part of like having a faith is being able to trust in the fact that like yes, things are going to be out of your control, but that's because like there is something bigger than you, and like everything really does happen for a reason. And for me, that gives me a lot of like, it puts me at ease to just be like, okay, like this is something that was not meant to happen for me, and that's okay.
Right.
So I yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's huge to have. It doesn't matter what your belief is,
Right.
but you have to have a belief in something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And like what's just funny is like I literally see and like I have friends in different religions. I like love to like learn about other
Mhm.
spiritualities and just like yeah, everyone's different and like I don't think one is per se greater than the other. It's just
Mhm.
how you believe and how you're most connected. So like
Yeah.
what you were saying about like your inner and how like your inner was telling your thoughts, right? You said
Yeah,
something
like
about
your
that.
inner, like your intuition, like
Right. Yeah.
listening to that helps
Hmm.
you make your
Yeah.
decisions
So like
for
what's so
you.
funny for like the crossover, like the first thing I thought of was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's my Holy Spirit talking to
Yeah.
me. And like that's how Jesus communicates to me is
Ah.
through the Holy Spirit. Because that's
Okay.
what like,
See, like
he
it's just a
rose.
different
Right.
name
Exactly.
for the same
Yeah.
like
But again, I think
feeling.
right.
It's a
And then
feeling.
it is, yeah. And then it's just honing in and like again, listening in, being one with it.
Mhm.
That's a huge thing. So I have to like stop my anxious brain and like let myself feel what I'm feeling in the moment. But
Mhm.
then again, kind of like what everyone says, it is what it is. If what's meant for you is meant for you, like it's all that stuff. It's just who you kind of give the
The
glory to at the
yeah.
end of the day.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's the same premise for
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
I like that. And I really like that like we can have like that kind of
Mhm.
relationship where like we can talk about that and like
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. I'm
Mhm.
open to learning and like it's the same with you to me.
Yeah.
And I think like people need to do that more because it's really
Mhm.
cool when you
Yeah.
get to learn different people's
Right.
perspectives about like why like how they cope with things and like do
Mhm.
things the way that they do. It's
Yeah.
cool.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like not gonna sit here. I'm not one to judge anyone else, like of someone else. I genuinely love like hearing about how you work through things
Yeah.
and from your past experiences, like and what's brought you to be at this point right now. Like it's all interconnected. We are literally in the circle of
We're
life.
so connected.
Yeah,
So connected.
it's so dope.
Yeah, it is.
Hmm.
All right. So, one more thing for you.
Okay.
If you had to give little freshman Meg some advice of
Hmm.
something that you knew now, what would you tell her?
Oh my lord. It's freshman Meg. Um. Mm. Well, okay, yeah. I guess I would just at ease tell her like everything you're searching for right now is going to come to fruition. Cuz at that point, I was manifesting. So I was like kind of on my spiritual
Mm-hmm.
track. Um and I manifested. I went back and actually I found my old journal and I used to manifest every day
That's
morning and night.
sick.
And it was from freshman year when I was home for that 1 year and I looked down at everything and I'm like I have everything on this list. I asked to be at JMU. I asked to have a great group of friends. I asked to genuinely love my body for how it is and what it looks like at any point in time. I asked to be able to be accepting of love again. Um
That's amazing.
yeah, I asked to deepen my relationship with God. I did. I put that in there too and literally everything that was on my list happened. Oh yeah, and I asked to I got it by the end of the year. I wanted to save up 10K before I came to school. And I
Nice.
did. So, cuz it
Slay.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I
cool
would
that you wrote it down.
right. And I would just tell her like you don't need to freak out cuz I thought life was horrible at that time. And now it's like it's so great. Like everything's going to be okay. And so I kind of that grounds me now cuz I'm like okay, that was me 3-4 years ago like so therefore now me in 3-4 years is going to look back and I'm like I got everything that I asked and if I didn't ask for it it took me somewhere better and somewhere greater. Yeah.
That is so beautiful.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hug for little Meg right now.
Oh.
Megs. Anything else you want to share, add?
No, what would you tell freshman Shar? I'm actually interested in this. I know it's hard.
It's very
There's
hard.
a lot I want to tell her, to be honest.
I know. There's so many things.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would tell her to put herself first. That's what I would tell her. Because earlier. Yeah. Because I'm at a point where, like, I truly am putting myself first in the decisions I'm making. And, like, I think that's a huge factor, if not the factor, as to why I do feel so good right now.
Right.
Because I am really doing things for myself. And I think I really wish I dove into that deeper earlier on.
Yeah. Yeah. But then also I look back and I'm like, I needed to go through that struggle.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Totally agree.
Complete character development for sure. But yeah, a little sooner. Put yourself first, babes. Because now I'm like, I'm so happy. Why didn't I do that earlier?
Yeah.
But again, everything happens at the exact right time for you.
Exactly. We're living and learning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. This was so fun.
We'll do it again if we want.
Okay. Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of In Moderation, where we practice all things balance. Talk to you next time.